How do you stop?
Yes.
It's to the point where I love and I hate you, and I cannot change you, so I must replace you.
And we're back. It's Bart.
And it's Ben.
And we're not here to talk about basketball. We're here to talk about SEC football. We both go to SEC schools. Bart, go to Mississippi State.
And I, Ben, go to the wonderful University of Mississippi, the best school in the state, Ole Miss, hotty toddy.
Ben, where's the Egg Bowl?
The Egg Bowl this year will be in Starkville.
Okay. So, get on track. We're going to be basically running down our projections for who we think is going to be in Atlanta. Surprise teams, which is where we'll start. Surprise teams in each division. And how we think both our schools are going to do this year. It's probably going to be a down year for both football teams. But it may not be. We always got the Egg Bowl. So, we're guaranteed at least one bowl game a year. So, as I said, we're going to start with surprise teams. We're going to have a surprise team in the East, not surprise teams, but surprises that we could see happening or not happening this year. I will start out with the SEC East, and my surprise is if the appeal is granted by the NCAA to Missouri, which I think it should be because from all accounts, I know that's an institutional problem. I don't see how you punish the players that had nothing to do with the institutional problem with the cheating scandal. Having said that, if Missouri wins their appeal, I think they can realistically compete in the SEC East. They have, of course, Kelly Bryant coming in as the grad transfer quarterback. People forget this man was 16-2 as a starter. Can he throw the ball as well as Drew Lock? No. But he could still, I think, lead an offense lead this team to a possible, again, if they win the bowl, if they get the bowl postseason ban waived, they could win the SEC East. Will they? No, but I think they could definitely contend. I see them maybe going, they're projected at 8-4 by most sites. I think this team realistically can go 9-3, 10-2. Ben, who's your surprise in the SEC East?
So my surprise in the East is I would be very surprised if Georgia is not in Atlanta. I think the East, at least from where we both go to SEC West schools, we're very proud of that. And honestly, the SEC East is just not very good, straight up. And Kirby Smart and the way that his program cheats all the time, there's no way that any other SEC East team can compete. Therefore, I would be very surprised if Georgia's not in Atlanta.
Was that a Kobe Dean reference with the cheating scandal?
It was not a Nakobe Dean. I am very depressed that Nakobe Dean did not choose Ole Miss. But I hope it all works out for him. I'm sure he got a new Cadillac or whatever Georgia gives their players.
Okay, switching gears back to the projections. We're going to go with the SEC West. Our surprises in the SEC West, in my opinion, I think we could see LSU in Atlanta representing the SEC West. Now, the one kicker to that is they do have to travel
Really?
Yes. But here's the thing. They do have to travel to Tuscaloosa. But what people are forgetting is this. The last time that Bama lost to LSU was in Tuscaloosa in 2011 when there was number 1 versus number 2. LSU, for the first time in a while, has a returning starting quarterback who actually is good. Danny Etling sucks. Okay? There's a reason he will never play it down in the NFL. Joe Burrow, I think, will play it down. Could be a consistent backup maybe in the NFL, but we're talking about college. They finally have a returning of that running back core, most of it, and it was running back by committee, and that's what you need to have, I think, in college football in the SEC these days to win. We've seen it with Bama year after year. They turn out about 3-4 running backs in the NFL draft. The defense with LSU is always going to be stout. Now, they do have to replace Grady Williams and Devin White. Now, if they can, and as I think they will, this team, I think, can realistically be in Atlanta because they have a veteran quarterback who knows how to beat. Because they were in that Alabama game for most of the game until Tua ran off a 30-plus yard touchdown run that kind of put the game on ice. So I think this team, after winning that Fiesta Bowl over UCF, not my national champions, I think they could realistically be in Atlanta.
I disagree with that. I think just talking to LSU fans, they're more worried. They're not even worried about the Alabama game. They know they'll compete. They're worried about slacking in like an Arkansas game or a game that doesn't matter, and I think that really will hurt them. I think they can.
They do have to travel to.
I think something with Ed Ogeron as your coach, you're never going to worry about talent, but you're going to worry about coaching.
Right.
And I think they'll definitely be a good team. Joe Burrow's a stud. I just don't see it happening. But.
They do have to travel to both Oxford and Starkville this year, so maybe the state of Mississippi hands them out 2 L's. Who knows? Now we're gonna end with our projections.
Let me talk about my surprise team for the West. Texas A&M. I think it'll be surprising if they are relevant in the SEC, and I think they will be. They have Ja'Shawn Corbin and Isaiah Spiller at running back. Those guys replacing Travion. Well, they'll have a tough task on hand. But them, along with the defensive line that they have that is expected to dominate, and then Kellen Mond and Jimbo Fisher will lead them to legitimate contention, probably fighting for that 3rd seed in the West, just depending on how everything shakes out. But I think that they'll definitely contend in Jimbo's 2nd year.
There have been some teams that have finished 3rd in the SEC West and say that they were the 3rd best team in the country. Now, switching gears, we're going to end with our projections of how we think our personal schools will do. So, we're going to give you our SEC title game. Who will be in Atlanta in December? And I just told you I think it's going to represent the West. I believe it will be LSU. The team representing the East, I completely agree with Ben. If it is anybody but Georgia, I am shocked. Just because Georgia, you have returning basically every facet. You lose some skill players on the outside, but you do that every year. But that's an athlete-driven state. They keep a lot of guys in the state of Georgia. And I just think they don't rebuild, they reload. And that's what I think Kirby Smart will do. And it'll be Georgia and LSU in Atlanta in December. Ben, who do you think will be in Atlanta?
No surprises here. I think it's Alabama and Georgia. Alabama is the best team in the SEC, arguably the best team in the country throughout the whole season. Every single game, they are the most dominant team in the country, I believe. Clemson fights for that, but I think throughout the whole schedule, Alabama is the most dominant. Based on their schedule, they have to be. And then Georgia, there's really no debate in my mind who's the best in the East. So that's my team. That's my matchup.
Okay, now let's switch. I'm going to basically tell you how I think Mississippi State will do. Ben will tell you how he thinks Ole Miss will do. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Such a forgettable school. I basically think I was giving y'all smoke and mirrors. Mississippi State's going to win the whole damn thing. I'm kidding. I am kidding. I think Mississippi State, realistically, I think we're looking at 9. I think we can go anywhere from 9-3 to 7-5. You can talk me into possibly 6-6, but I think we have too much talent for a 6-6 team. We lost 3 first-round draft picks in Jeffrey Simmons, Montez Sweat, and Jonathan Abrams. We lose a lot in the defense, but I think we rebuild with that. We have, in my opinion, one of the best linebacking corps in the country with Thompson, Gay, and Leo Lewis all returning. I think it's on the defensive side. I think we're pretty much set. The offensive side, we do lose a couple offensive linemen, but we have a lot of guys, Deion Calhoun, who I think can really lead that team to the promised land. If Kylan Hill can keep his head on straight and is ready to rock, I think he could be one of the most surprising running backs in the country. Maybe could contend for Doug Walker Heisman if he's able to buy into the Joe Moorhead system. And there was a lot of takes that, if he had the body, he's kind of like a shiftier Saquon Barkley, if you will. But the real question in Starkville was the question the last 3 years. It's going to be the question this year. Where is our quarterback going to take us? Last 3 years, it was Fitzmagic or more, sometimes Fitztragic. There's a reason that, a quarterback should not be the all-time leading rusher almost in your school's history. Whatever, he's in Tampa now.
That's pretty sad.
I mean, I don't think he was, but it was probably close. It was. I mean, he was the all-time leading.
Have any good running backs down at State?
I mean, we've always. I mean,
ever. Y'all must be terrible. Anyways,
2-1 against Ole Miss, and basically the one game he played, Ole Miss broke him. That's neither here nor there. basically, though, I think if it's Tommy Stevens or Keaton Thompson, whoever it is, has to play well in order for State to do anything this year. As I alluded to when I even made my LSU projection, LSU does have to travel to Starkville. We also get Alabama in Starkville, but we have to travel to Auburn, and we get the Egg Bowl in Starkville, and we have to travel to A&M and to LA. No, we get LSU in Starkville. Sorry about that. So we basically have we'll have tough games on the road, but I think we'll have some easy, winnable games at home. There's no one I think will be able to talk me out of it. I mean, we're going to start out 4-0. We play Southern Miss, or we play UW's and Lafayette in New Orleans. If I survive that weekend, it'll be a journey. And then we play Southern Miss and Kansas State in our first 2 home games, and then our first SEC game and our first SEC home game we play Kentucky. I think we're staring at 4-0 in my opinion. And then after that, you get an SEC. You have to travel to Auburn, and to Tennessee back-to-back weeks. That'll obviously be tough. But who knows? We could be on the other side of that. Be 6-0. I think we're probably leaning more on 4-2, 5-1. But then you get into the LSU, the Bama, the A&M, where the meat of our schedule really is. I think all said and done, I think Mississippi State goes 9-3, losing to A&M, LSU, and Alabama. And I think Tommy Stevens will be the quarterback all 12 games in Starkville, and then the bowl game. Ben, where do you have Ole Miss going?
So I'm realistic. I'm gonna be fairly realistic. I mean, some people may disagree, but I think Ole Miss will probably end up around 6-6.
Which is it's where y'all have been the past 3-4 years. Well, so it's not really bad. It's not really like
we can't. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it's good considering us losing the core of the NWO, the core like DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, DeMarcus Lodge. We're losing basically all of our starting receivers besides for Elijah Moore, who started in the slot. And so we're rebuilding there. We're losing Jordan Teamu. We're getting Matt Corral, who's shown a lot of flashes of being someone special and someone that can energize this team. And
shown flashes as a head case, too.
Really shown passion, which is something that the Ole Miss teams have really honestly lacked. I'm hoping that he can be a great leader in the locker room, because when you watch our defense, and historically the past couple of years when we've been the worst in the nation, definitely worst in the SEC, there's been a lack of passion. There's just been I hope I can tackle this guy.
Right.
And so hopefully with new coordinators in and some new passion and new intensity, Matt Corral will lead this young offense with the new set of NWO receivers, and then along with Scotty Phillips, who had 900 yards in 8 games, and then Jerrion Ely coming in as a 5-star running back to help that backfield. I think our running game will really carry us in the beginning of the year, which will hopefully start out 2-0. I think if we start out 2-0, our season can only go up from there. We have Memphis the first game, and then we have at Arkansas, or we play Arkansas. I'm not sure if it's home or away, but either way, if we can win those 2 games, we're going to be our season will look a lot better than if we lose. So I would say that in addition to those 2 games, I would say the LSU and Alabama games are the most important on our schedule, because as a team that's rebuilding and figuring out what we need to do to get it better, those 2 games will help us evaluate where we are and where we need to be. So I'm looking forward to those games, even if we do get blown out, just to see. I mean, our defense hopefully will have improved and be able to stop some of their run games. And so it'll be fun. I think we'll lose a lot of games. I think we'll win a lot of games. So looking forward to it. I think we'll be 6-6, heading to a bowl, which will be a nice breath of fresh air after coming off the bowl ban.
Speaking on the Matt Corral situation, even though I am a State student, I think you earn a lot of respect in that locker room when you go toe-to-toe with Jonathan Abram. I mean,
that little guy?
That kid is a freak. You watch him on Hard Knocks and try to call him a little man.
That little guy?
Oakland, HBO, put a camera on that guy, because he is just he's a character. He's a character, but he also will scare the hell out of you.
So Matt Corral's a character as well.
Right.
He'll fight for himself.
Right, and I think as a team who, as you said multiple times, you're on a rebuilding path, You need that type of guy to be the head of the rebuild, a guy who can stand up for himself, will not stand. I mean,
he doesn't take anything from
exactly.
anybody.
And I think, he's a Cali kid, if I remember correctly. So I think, coming in with that Cali swagger, I think could help Ole Miss. I definitely could see y'all going 6-6. I hope it's not one of those tragic scenarios where both teams are 5-6 going into the Egg Bowl, and each team's one team's got to win and keep playing, the other team loses and season's over. But 6-6 from where y'all have been, I think. Because you want the Egg Bowl to be somewhat relevant again, to where it's not just. We could always dream for the game where both teams are 11-0, playing for the trip to the SEC title game.
Get another Sports Illustrated cover.
Another dual Sports Illustrated cover. But I definitely can see it being where both teams are competitive in the SEC. If both teams, I think both teams best. Y'all tragically, I believe. You get Bama on the road.
If we get a upset victory at home, I think Ole Miss's fan base will be excited.
Well, and you do get LSU at home, which could possibly.
Honestly, pretty much anyone in the SEC West is going to be an upset.
Right.
But a good team like Texas A&M, LSU would be a great upset.
Right. Exactly. Well, that is all. We will be back with another college football episode where we will say who we think will be the 4 playoff teams in the college football playoff. Well,
looking forward to college football season. Let's
exactly.
go.
Well, that's all for what we have today. Please tune in next time on Bart and Ben. Like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that red subscribe button and hit the bell. Ring the bell where you know where we post next. This is Bart.
This has been
signing off.